Today I'm going to show you how to make this wooden chain out of a single piece of wood. The project itself isn't very difficult, but it does take some time to do. This chain has 6 unbroken links that are made from one piece of wood. Traditionally, this was a wood carving project made with basic wood carving tools. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to take the easy way out and we're going to make it our own way. Make sure to stick around till the end of the video. I'll have some tips that'll help you save some time when you're carving your project. For the wood selection, there's probably 3 good choices: poplar, basswood, and pine. I just chose pine because it's so readily available. Any wood that has a limited amount of grain is probably your best choice for this. Okay, we're over at the table saw and we're going to cut 1.5 inch strips. So we end up with a piece that's 1.5 by 1.5. It only has to be about 12 inches long. Now we'll set our adjustable square to 1/2 inch. We'll run long lines down all the sides of the piece of wood. Don't forget to do the ends so that you end up with like a plus shape where everything's divided into 1/2 inch. The next thing we'll want to do is remove these corner pieces. So I just used the piece that we marked to set my fence and my blade height on the table saw to cut this out and make this plus shape. Make sure to use your piece to set up your blade so that you're cutting on the inside and not just going to a dimension on your fence. That'll really screw up your 1/2 inch chain lengths. As you're cutting your piece, make sure you stand to the side of your waist because that piece may shoot out at you. Now that that's done, we're just going to take a piece of paper and put it in the corner of our plus and then fold it over so we get a creased edge on there. We'll use that for drawing out the chain lengths. Each link is going to be 3 inches long. We'll just draw it out on a piece of paper and then transfer that onto our piece of wood. So now that our links are drawn on one side, we're going to stagger the opposite side and transfer those lines as well. And now you can see it's starting to look like a chain, just like that. So now we want to start removing that material. And there's 2 ways to do that. You can do it with a coping saw that you can get at a garage sale for probably 50 cents or a big box store. I don't know how much they are. I'll put a link to one of these in the description below. Our next choice would be the scroll saw. And we can cut out and start removing this material fairly easy. It can be a little bit cumbersome to balance on that 1/2 inch centerpiece as you're doing the rest of the cuts, but you can get it done no problem. And then with our basic shape of the chain, we're going to start to remove the material at the end 2 links and in between all the links. To do that, we'll just drill holes where we want the openings. Then we'll fish the blade through it on the scroll saw and cut out each one individually. Then there will be very little holding this chain together and it'll be super light at this point. Now we'll start removing material with the Dremel tool. I have a variety of bits here and we're just going to start using whichever one we think might work for us best. I'm finding that the triangle bit seems to work pretty good. We'll start by putting marks wherever the links overlap. And then we'll start coming in at an angle. Make sure to come from all 4 sides and take a little bit of material off at a time. Keep in mind where your links are going to be so you're not gouging up the link that's connected to it. So if you take your time and you remove the material from all 4 sides a little at a time, eventually the link will break free. It won't be free spinning, but you'll be able to get into those really tight spots that are hard to reach when it's still together. So just by moving it back and forth, you can remove more material that way and really get into those hard to reach areas. Once the links are completely loose and free to move around, you can really dial in on the rest of the chain. Just remember to remove a little bit of material from each side at a time. Try to keep it as uniform as you can. Try to make the shape of the chain so that the links are round, doing the best that you can. Round in shape, that is, cylindrical, whatever you want to call it. Once you get those free moving enough that you can get into those tighter spots, it'll really start to look nice. Now that we have our chain here, we'll take it over to the belt sander and start giving it the once over. We'll sand off all the edges. We'll try to round up the corners nice and make them even from both sides. Anything that we screwed up with the Dremel tool, we'll try to take out here. Of course, you're going to have to use hand sandpaper and maybe some files to get into all these tight spots. But we'll sand it up and get it good to go. We'll hang it up and I'll give it a quick coat of lacquer from a spray can. It'll take a couple coats and we'll have to keep moving the links every time so that we can get a good coverage. The tip I said I would tell you about is when you're on your scroll saw, go ahead and cut this H shape out. I realized this after I did the first one. By doing this, you've created a lot less material that'll have to be removed by the Dremel tool. And as you can see by doing this, the links will overlap and you'll really be able to get in there and remove that material to break these free. So looking at this, the chains are the same size. But once you actually carve it out, the chain itself gets longer. And once it's longer, that answers the age-old question of if you can stretch a piece of wood. The answer is yes, if it's in the shape of a chain. And here it is, man. How cool is this? It came out sweet. This is one of those great projects that you can hone in your skills as a woodworker and really show them off. Put this on your coffee table and I guarantee every person that comes over will check this thing out. They'll pick it up and hold it and they'll say, "Did you make this?" And you'll be like, "Yeah, man, piece of cake, no problem." And just for a quick recap, we'll go over the steps involved. You start with your 1.5 by 1.5. You go to your table saw and you rip it down. You cut out the shape of your chain with the H shapes, and then you whittle it away and finish it off, and it's good to go. This was a really fun project that I enjoyed making with you guys. If you have any tips or ideas on how to make your chain better, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out these videos over here that I have on scrap wood projects. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.